Many gardeners have experienced the same frustrating situation. They carefully dig up a favorite perennial, divide it into smaller sections, replant everything with care, water thoroughly, and then watch the plants die within a couple of weeks. Most people immediately assume they made a mistake. They blame poor timing, incorrect watering, or bad soil. However, the truth is often very different. The biggest problem is that not every perennial is meant to be divided. While some plants become healthier, stronger, and more productive after division, others can be permanently damaged or even killed by the exact same process. Understanding this simple difference can save years of frustration, prevent the loss of valuable plants, and save hundreds of dollars over time. Perennials that spread through rhizomes or fibrous root systems naturally become overcrowded after spending several years in the same location. As the clump expands, the center slowly runs out of nutrients and moisture while the outer growth continues spreading. The roots begin competing against one another for water and nutrients, causing fewer flowers, smaller blooms, weaker stems, and sometimes a hollow dead center surrounded by healthy outer growth. This is the plant's natural way of signaling that it needs to be divided. By separating these overcrowded clumps, each new division receives fresh soil, better access to nutrients, and enough room to grow into a stronger, healthier plant. One of the best examples is the bearded iris. If it has been growing in the same spot for more than 3 years without being divided, the rhizomes become tightly packed together. The older rhizomes in the center eventually stop producing flowers and often become dry, weak, or rotten, while the younger outer rhizomes continue producing vigorous new growth. Leaving the old center in place wastes nutrients and creates an ideal hiding place for destructive iris borers that tunnel into the rhizomes and damage the plant from the inside. Many gardeners mistakenly divide bearded iris in spring, but the correct time is during mid to late summer after the blooming season has completely finished. At this stage, the plant naturally begins producing new rhizomes and recovers much faster from division. Carefully lift the entire clump, shake away excess soil, and separate the healthy outer rhizomes from the old damaged center. Remove any soft or diseased sections, trim the leaves to about 4 inches to reduce water loss, and replant the healthy rhizomes with their tops sitting at or just above the soil surface because deeply buried rhizomes often produce plenty of leaves but very few flowers. Popular varieties such as Immortality, Batik, and Clarence multiply rapidly and can provide numerous healthy new plants from a single mature clump. Daylilies are another perennial that greatly benefits from regular division. Their thick fleshy roots continue expanding year after year until the center becomes overcrowded and nutrient deficient. As this happens, the plant gradually produces fewer flower stalks and noticeably smaller blooms. Dividing daylilies every 3 to 6 years keeps them vigorous and productive. Early spring, when fresh green shoots first emerge, is one of the best times, although late summer after flowering is also suitable. Dig up the entire clump and examine the roots carefully. Smaller clumps can usually be separated by hand, while larger ones may require 2 garden forks or a sharp spade. Each new division should contain 3 to 5 healthy leaf fans along with a strong root system. Reliable varieties such as Stella de Oro, Happy Returns, Pardon Me, and Chicago Apache divide easily and quickly establish into mature flowering plants. Once gardeners understand how simple this process is, they often realize they rarely need to purchase another daylily again. Learning proper perennial division completely changes the way gardeners think about their landscapes. Instead of buying replacement plants every few years, they can multiply many of the plants they already own for free. Unfortunately, this valuable information is rarely found on plant labels or nursery tags, leaving many gardeners unaware of which species should be divided and which should never be disturbed. Hostas are another excellent example. Many people plant them and simply leave them alone for years because they continue surviving, but surviving is not the same as thriving. After 3 to 5 years, the crown becomes overcrowded, the center gradually weakens, leaf size decreases, gaps begin appearing within the clump, and overall vigor slowly declines. Although spring is commonly recommended for division, late summer or early fall is often an even better choice because the plant has completed its main period of growth while the soil remains warm enough for strong root development before winter arrives. Use a sharp spade to divide the clump into sections, making sure each division contains part of the crown along with a healthy root system. Large hostas can often be divided into several strong plants that establish quickly. Popular varieties such as Halcyon, Sum and Substance, Francie, and Patriot remain highly desirable and multiply very successfully through proper division. Yarrow is another outstanding perennial that responds extremely well to regular division. It thrives in drought, poor soil, and difficult growing conditions while attracting butterflies, bees, and many beneficial insects. Because it spreads aggressively through underground rhizomes, the original center gradually dies while healthy growth continues moving outward. Without division, the dead center expands and overall plant performance steadily declines. Dividing yarrow every 1 to 3 years during early spring or early fall keeps the plant vigorous and productive. Lift the root mass, separate healthy outer sections that contain young shoots and strong roots, discard the dead center, and replant only the vigorous divisions into refreshed soil. Varieties such as Moonshine, Paprika, Cerise Queen, and Alabaster spread quickly and can produce many healthy new plants within only a few seasons. Bee balm is another perennial that rewards regular division, but for a different reason. Its biggest problem is powdery mildew. Many gardeners believe mildew is caused by watering mistakes or poor soil, when the real cause is often overcrowding. Dense clumps restrict airflow, allowing moisture to remain on the leaves long enough for fungal diseases to develop. Dividing bee balm every 1 to 3 years naturally solves this problem by removing the exhausted center and creating proper spacing between healthy new divisions. Improved airflow keeps foliage drier, encourages vigorous new stems, and dramatically reduces mildew problems. Disease-resistant varieties such as Jacob Klein, Raspberry Wine, Fireball, and Marshall's Delight provide beautiful blooms while offering better resistance to common diseases. Garden Phlox faces many of the same challenges. It produces large fragrant flower clusters that attract butterflies and hummingbirds throughout summer, but overcrowded clumps often become heavily infected with powdery mildew. Dividing mature clumps every 2 to 4 years during spring or early fall removes exhausted growth and improves air circulation throughout the planting. Dig the entire clump, remove the old center, divide the healthy outer sections, and replant them with generous spacing between plants. Better airflow not only reduces disease pressure, but also encourages stronger stems, healthier foliage, and far more impressive flowering. Reliable mildew-resistant varieties such as David, Robert Poor, Gina, and Laura consistently perform well when managed correctly. Hardy garden chrysanthemums are frequently divided at exactly the wrong time because they bloom in autumn. Many gardeners naturally wait until flowering finishes before dividing them, but this often results in poor survival because newly divided plants have very little time to establish roots before winter arrives. Freeze-thaw cycles can push weak divisions out of the ground, while cold-wet soil increases the risk of root rot. The correct time to divide hardy mums is during spring as soon as fresh shoots begin emerging. This allows each new division an entire growing season to develop a strong root system before producing flowers in autumn. Every division should contain several healthy shoots and a well-developed root system, and pinching the stems during early summer encourages bushier growth and heavier flowering later in the season. Varieties such as Sheffield Pink, Ruby Mound, Cambodian Queen, and Mary Stoker are excellent choices for dependable fall displays. The most important lesson is that not every perennial responds to division in the same way. Plants with rhizomes or fibrous root systems often become healthier, produce larger blooms, and create many free plants when divided at the proper time. Ignoring overcrowding eventually weakens growth, reduces flowering, and increases disease problems. By recognizing the warning signs, including smaller blooms, declining vigor, dead centers, and overcrowded clumps, gardeners can restore plant health, expand their gardens without additional expense, and enjoy stronger, longer-lasting displays year after year. Unlike the plants discussed earlier, some perennials should never be divided because doing so almost always destroys them. Many gardeners assume that every mature perennial can simply be dug up and split into smaller pieces. But this misunderstanding often leads to the loss of plants that may have taken years to establish. The difference lies beneath the soil. While some perennials spread through rhizomes or fibrous root systems that naturally create multiple growing points, Others depend on a single deep taproot that serves as the plant's only lifeline. This taproot carries water and nutrients from deep underground to the entire plant. Once it is cut or broken, the plant usually cannot recover because there is no secondary root system capable of replacing its function. Instead of producing healthy new divisions, the separated pieces quickly wilt, rot, and die. Understanding which plants fall into this category is just as important as knowing which ones should be divided because it prevents irreversible mistakes and protects valuable long-lived plants. One of the best examples is false indigo, also known as baptisia. This remarkable native perennial is admired for its beautiful blue flower spikes, attractive blue-green foliage, decorative seed pods, exceptional drought tolerance, and ability to improve soil by fixing nitrogen. Once established, a baptisia plant can live for decades with very little maintenance, gradually developing into a large shrub-like clump that returns stronger every year. However, its impressive longevity depends entirely on a massive taproot that grows several feet deep into the soil. Attempting to divide an established baptisia almost always shatters this brittle root, preventing the plant from absorbing enough water to survive. Rather than dividing it, gardeners should collect mature seeds after the pods dry in late summer. Lightly scarifying the seeds and exposing them to winter cold or artificial cold stratification before planting provides the best chance of successful germination. Although seedlings grow slowly during their first few years, they eventually develop the deep root system that allows the plant to thrive for decades. Butterfly weed is another plant that should never be divided. Besides producing brilliant orange flowers, it plays an essential ecological role by serving as a required host plant for monarch butterfly caterpillars. Without milkweed species like butterfly weed, monarch butterflies cannot complete their life cycle. Many new gardeners mistakenly believe the plant has died each spring because it emerges much later than most other perennials, often not appearing until late spring or early summer. In reality, it is simply relying on the energy stored inside its deep fleshy taproot. Disturbing or cutting this root usually causes immediate decline because damaged tissue becomes vulnerable to rot and fungal infections. Instead of dividing butterfly weed, collect seeds from mature pods after they split open naturally in autumn and sow them outdoors so winter provides the cold treatment required for germination. Root cuttings taken during complete dormancy can also be successful, but division should always be avoided. Baby's breath surprises many gardeners because its delicate cloud-like flowers suggest a shallow root system. Yet beneath the soil it develops one thick taproot that extends deep into the ground. This single root supports the entire plant, making division almost impossible without fatal damage. Rather than attempting to split mature plants, propagate baby's breath using softwood cuttings taken before flowering begins or by growing new plants from seed. Healthy cuttings root relatively quickly under humid conditions, allowing gardeners to increase their collection without risking established plants. Lavender, rosemary, and Russian sage are frequently misunderstood because they are commonly sold alongside herbaceous perennials, leading many people to believe they can eventually be divided just like hostas or daylilies. In reality, these plants are woody subshrubs rather than true herbaceous perennials. Their lower stems remain woody year-round instead of dying back each winter. Cutting through the woody crown destroys the living tissue responsible for transporting water and nutrients, creating an entry point for disease and decay. Instead of dividing these plants, propagation should be done through stem cuttings or simple layering. Soft young stems taken during late spring or early summer root well under proper conditions, while layering allows gardeners to bend a flexible branch to the ground, encourage it to develop roots while still attached to the parent plant, and later separate it as an independent plant. This method is highly reliable and causes almost no stress to the original plant. Lupins are another favorite garden perennial that should never be divided despite their spectacular flower spikes. Their deep taproot anchors the plant securely while allowing access to moisture far below the soil surface. Cutting this root almost always results in complete failure because neither section can establish a functioning root system afterward. Fortunately, lupins naturally produce abundant seed pods after flowering. Once the pods mature and dry, gardeners can collect the seeds, lightly scarify their hard outer coating, soak them briefly, and plant them to produce healthy new plants. Many lupin varieties also self-seed successfully, creating fresh plants naturally without any intervention. Columbine behaves somewhat differently but reaches the same conclusion. Although its colorful spring flowers are treasured by hummingbirds and native bees, Columbine is naturally a relatively short-lived perennial. After only a few years, older plants begin declining as part of their normal life cycle. Many gardeners mistakenly attempt to rescue aging plants by dividing them, but the central root system does not tolerate this disturbance. Instead, Columbine relies on prolific self-seeding to maintain its presence in the garden. Allowing mature seed pods to dry naturally ensures that dozens of seedlings appear the following season, often creating an even more beautiful display than the original plants. If several varieties grow close together, they freely cross-pollinate, producing unique and unexpected flower colors in future generations. Sea holly is another outstanding perennial that rewards gardeners who simply leave it alone. Its striking metallic blue flower heads, exceptional drought tolerance, resistance to deer, and outstanding performance in poor soils make it one of the most distinctive plants in the garden. However, beneath the soil lies a compact but powerful taproot that dislikes any disturbance. Even transplanting mature sea holly can be difficult, while dividing it almost always proves fatal. The best approach is to plant it in a permanent sunny location with excellent drainage and allow it to remain there for many years. New plants are most successfully produced from seed, either by sowing outdoors before winter or by providing several weeks of cold stratification before spring planting. Although germination may be slow, patience is rewarded with healthy, long-lived plants. The biggest lesson from all of these examples is that successful gardening is not about treating every perennial the same way. The healthiest gardens come from understanding how each individual plant naturally grows. Perennials with rhizomes or fibrous roots usually benefit from regular division because it reduces overcrowding, improves flowering, and creates many free plants. In contrast, perennials built around a single deep taproot should be left undisturbed for life and propagated only through seeds, stem cuttings, layering, or other appropriate methods. Knowing the difference prevents costly mistakes, protects plants that may have taken years to establish, and allows gardeners to expand their landscapes using the safest propagation method for each species. By respecting each plant's natural growth habit instead of assuming every perennial responds the same way, gardeners can enjoy healthier plants, stronger blooms, greater success, and a garden that continues improving year after year. This condensed summary is based directly on the second half of the script you provided.